Okay, so let's go into another conversation about generational unity here when it comes to the season that we're in, which is looking at policy and looking at candidates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and again, we're encouraging everybody to be involved in this process. A lot of times people are very overwhelmed by it, and it's like I don't know the first thing about being involved. Well, we're going to tell you. We're going to tell you how you can change that and do it while your kids are watching you. And we make it really easy. But we will say consistency in everything that we're talking about. Consistency is a key. That's a key to everything, right?
Yeah.
So in every aspect of life. But just monitoring. We just sent out a legislative update. By the way, if you want to see just kind of broken down what's going on, you can go to delawarefamilies.org/updates. You can get to it directly through the homepage, but that's a shortcut. delawarefamilies.org/updates, and just see the breakdown of the legislation that we're watching and what it means. We try to distill it down, make it super simple as we can. Sometimes it's meant to be complex, but we have systems and attorney oversight in place to make sure that when we say this is a problem, this is what it means when it's applied, this is what it's meant in other states, that you can stand on it. Plus, we've been doing this now for almost 20 years. That would be me and our team and our system. And so we've been in the legislature and involved in the legislative process longer than a lot of the legislators. So when we say that we know where this bill is going to lead and where it's going to go, I would say I haven't seen where we've been wrong yet, movement-wide. I haven't seen where we've been wrong
and
yet.
even in the few months I've been here, I would completely agree. And that's the thing is, you know, for people not to be stressed, they just need to know their resources.
It's a good point.
And I think we are a beautiful resource, especially pertaining to issues such as life, religious freedom, education, parental rights. We are here to serve you. So go on that site, because I'll tell you what, it is pretty stressful to see all these bills, to read every single one and to see what it pertains to. It is so stressful as a citizen, but that is literally our job and our service to you, is that we share the biblical worldview as you go on this site as a Christian. We share the worldview as you. And instead of you alone being there to navigate these issues, we come alongside with you as not just as just a local body, but as like the church, as the church overall. And this is also just a family policy thing. We are part of a huge network amongst around the country. It's not just like a bunch of people band together just here in Delaware, but this is a national movement. It's huge. And I think this is something that the church, not just local bodies, but just the church as in the world, should be involved with. I think it takes a huge strain and stress. We talk to many churches, and a lot of times why they're apathetic, because the mission looks too big. But a mission that is defined with a plan is never too big. And I think we are part of that plan in taking stress away from you guys.
We have a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's a plan that we fast and pray over, and we're very careful with how we proceed and who is on our team. And it's just been such a privilege to be a part of what God is doing in Delaware.
Yeah.
As John Quatella says, our Church Ambassador Network Director. By the way, if you have not had John come and speak at your church, or if John hasn't met with your pastor yet, oh my goodness. Wow, you need to do that.
Yeah, he's been on the move.
He's been on the move up and down the little state of Delaware. The doors are opening, and it's just been amazing. And if you want to learn more about that, that's also accessible through delawarefamilies.org, or you can come to one of our monthly meetings that we have in person, and see our meeting schedule. That's for people who are supporters of the mission. And, we talk about everything at those meetings. That's also accessible.
Nothing's better than face to face.
Yeah.
I mean, like even as
a
cool Gen Zer, I can't, like the phone just like kills me, like because I've experienced face to face. I've experienced this thing that every other human on the earth experiences besides 15-year-olds in America. So and what's so funny, this is just, I know that's ironic.
No, the phone thing is a real thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like the fear of the phone and talking over the phone.
Yeah, it's sad, and don't get me started on it. But you were saying, how just it's a beautiful environment, like the work, like this work is and stuff. And I just have to say, like on a personal note, like what other job do people to look forward to their company meetings? Like I was like, it was like around 10:30. I got off the off of Zoom from India, from me and India's meeting, and I was like, man, I'm actually looking forward to this. I was like, this is awesome, and I always have, but like I really noticed it today. I was like, you know what, I'm hungry. Like I am hungry just to see everyone's face, even though it's on screen, and to just talk through things. And it was like I don't I think people avoid those meetings a lot of the time, but I was, like, really pressing into it and looking forward to it. So, I was just as soon as it hit 11, I pressed that Zoom link, and I was ready to be there. So,
Maybe it's because we've got 5 generations represented on our team.
I really think that's why, though, because, like,
A lot of flavor.
it's a bit yeah, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, I look forward to seeing Morris all the time, on there. I mean, Morris what generation is Morris? I think
He's our boomer.
he's our boomer. He's our he's our boomer. Um, yeah, no, I was as soon as I got on there, Morris was talking, and I had a question with him. I was like, I remember I asked, where do you see such and such in the church today?
Yeah.
Gonna get a way different answer than I could even imagine. And we're getting a meal later on, so I'll be MIA for 4 hours. So, so don't contact me for 4 hours.
All right, so some of the things that you should, we just wanna give some real practical in the season that we're in. This is the time to start learning who candidates are who are running for election in your district. This is a time to invite them in to have coffee. They're available and they're willing to have coffee with you and your friends. Okay, so what do we do when we get them to have coffee?
Yeah.
The idea is to be able to identify what's important to them, what is their worldview, and start to ask some questions around that. Some of the things I like to identify when I'm meeting with someone who's running for office, probably one of the biggest things is who's around them.
Mm,
I want to know, where did they go to get information? What informs their decisions and their positions on things? Who do they discuss it with? Who do they talk it over with? It's interesting the kind of answers that you'll get with a question like that. I've asked before, who has the authority in your life to help you determine what is right and what is wrong? Like, what does that for you? Some people have taken that question very seriously, and then some have really blown it off. And that's told me a lot too. And it's panned out,
yeah.
But knowing what informs your decision, why are you running? Why do you hold this position? Sometimes they'll share personal experiences, and experiential is important, but we're looking for what is cementing, what anchors your right from wrong. Because if you don't know that, it's going to be tested. So, but it opens up a lot of conversation. Now, you could have in front of you one of our legislative updates that you get through delawarefamilies.org/updates. And you could easily print that out and say, discuss a piece of legislation, a bill, and say, now how would you vote on this? And I think that would be a worthwhile conversation.
Yeah.
But learning what motivates someone,
Mm,
find out a little bit about, uh, are they married? Do they have children
yeah.
or not? Or are they business owner? Like, find out about
A
them.
big thing that I've realized as well is, do they actually know what their role is?
Right.
So it's like,
Great
if
point.
you were to ask them, if your district was like, because here's they need to understand, they were elected, so like they have, like, the trust has been placed in them as far as to that extent. So a good question is, let's, for abortion, for example, your whole district is for it, for it, for it. So are you just going to go vote for it then? Or are you going to stand firm because they elected you and you were in this position? Are you going to vote against that? Because that is their job. Like, the trust, like the part of society is to vote you in. They've done that. Now it's your job to go and vote righteously, on righteous policy, not right or left, but righteous policy. And I see a lot of people, if you were to ask them, if your whole district says vote this way, are you just going to go listen to your district? I think that's not what a representative should do.
But
Um,
but see, you're right, because they say that is the role. My role
yeah,
is to listen to my district. I'm trying to remember the representative's name that out of Michigan, that it was Democrat.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, made big news
Mhm,
because she is a Christian and she said, I can no longer vote against the Imago Dei. Not those words,
yeah,
but that's what if you believe people are made in the image of God, then what in the world? How can you support
mhm,
this abortion policy that puts it in the Constitution and allows it through all 9 months? I mean, this is
yeah.
so crazy, these
I
extremes.
will say an issue though, even amongst those who do vote the right way, is that they campaigned. There's a disconnect between the way they campaign and now how they're voting, and I think that's where the pressure comes. Is they
Yeah.
campaign saying, I'll do this," but then when the time actually comes, they don't, or they do something completely different. And that's what's also it's so important to make sure that the person you are talking to, who could be your representative or your senator, is grounded, that they know their worldview, and that they are not stuck in it per se, but they are confident in their worldview.
Confident.
Um,
It's good.
because I think the biggest thing now, everyone is very, for example, everyone's very scared that Islam's taking over, but know what everyone ignores is that right underneath Christianity, know what the most identified thing is? It's actually nothing. It's unaffiliated. People are unaffiliated more than ever. So when you go and see who's on as a
Nons,
can,
right? They call
yeah,
them the
the
nons.
nuns, yeah. Well, this is funny. I was reading that today actually, and I read it like the nuns, and I was like, oh man, these are some unholy nuns. So, um,
It's the nuns. There's
yeah,
no affiliation.
nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. So when you go and talk to your person, to your candidate, um, don't just look for their worldview, but do they have a worldview? Because
Everybody has one.
everyone has one, but do they have one that they can defend?
Do they know what there's
Is yeah.
how fully defined is their worldview?
Yeah, because if it's not
Yeah.
defined, if there's no boundaries, they're gonna be thrown around, and we've seen that, and
Yeah,
we've seen that, people who we never
see
thought
it all the time.
would do this, and then, because I think when you have a very strong worldview, you have good triggers, right? Like when you see this piece of legislation and it says something like that, you know what it's going to do, and you won't allow
Yeah.
it.
So I'm just going to bring us to reality here. Very few people have a well formed worldview. Well, they could have a worldview that's well formed over in secularism, you know, and where they've been immersed in the culture.
Yeah,
But it's very difficult to find people who run that have a very firm biblical worldview. And so a lot of times we might want to know, okay, well, if you say that you're a Christian, which not that many do these days, but
yeah,
where do you go to church? You know,
yeah,
where is who are the body of believers that you kind of align with and serve,
mhm,
and that will
yeah,
even tell us kind of where they are, like how much do you hold fast to this set of beliefs,
mm,
and hopefully that has played out in their life, and
yeah,
we can see what's important to them. But they're not going to have it all figured out. People
no,
think that people who run for office do have it all figured out. Most of the time, they don't know these things and they don't know the Constitution. We recommend that they take Larry
yeah.
Mayo's class on Delaware Constitution.
Well, I mean, that's why even legislators, as much as we want to serve you, we also want to be around legislators as well, because there's some issues that they're not experts in.
Okay,
It's
so this is
impossible to
this
do
is
that.
our opportunity, though, as regular Delaware citizens. You have such an opportunity to help and support the person that you're getting behind to run for office. They need good people who will help them understand issues. It's coming at them really hard, right?
Yeah,
It's coming.
email them
Get
like
get coffee with them. You want them to know your cell phone number. Have that kind of relationship. I feel convicted even as I'm saying that, because when they do vote the right way and they go there under that pressure, let me tell you, there's a lot of pressure when you are in that place. When I say that place, our capital, legislative hall is what we call it here in Delaware. But encourage them, drop them a line. How many of us are really, truly, honestly praying for our elected officials? John Quatella, our Church Ambassador Network Director, does a whole presentation on this. that is so good, so powerful. But just as Christians, we're not even talking political here. We're talking God instituted government for our good. We have a role here to play, and we need to be praying and taking this mission field very seriously. We need to change the way that we have maybe been brought up generationally to look at it,
Mm,
right? That's a big difference in
yeah.
how generations look at government.
I mean, that 100%. But speaking on John, I think, him and Morris have made just such an impact is because without even having to tell people they're doing this, people know they're praying for them. Like they know that like as someone who's never even saw John or Morris like face to face, like in a conversation, because their reputation is so well there, without even having ever been told by John or Morris, we're praying for you, they know they're being prayed for. And that's, I mean, we've seen just in the last year just how like impactful that really is and the
Yes.
amount of opportunities it has opened. I mean, just the people who, quite frankly, just you never would have thought we could be having, a relationship with, but John is able to, sit down like face to face and it's like, and people are like, oh, but how's that going to make Delaware a red state? For one, that's not the goal. But
Okay, let's put an exclamation mark on that. What you
oh,
just said.
oh yeah,
Okay.
we hear it in briefings a lot too.
Yeah. So what is our goal here? Is our goal to advance truth for God's kingdom? As Christians,
Absolutely, yeah.
we want people to we want to be a reflection, an accurate reflection of the character of Christ.
Absolutely. I mean, the Lord is our sun and we are the moon. We are reflecting the light.
But some people through the years, because we have disagreed with a position that we know that the Bible firmly is against our worldview, um, they have accused us of all kinds of things. We've engaged honorably, but when you do disagree on a position, sometimes in the environment that we're in, um, you'll hear all kinds of labels and
Mhm.
names and things because you took a different position.
Yeah.
Like if
Mm,
we didn't believe that um, you cannot transition your sex. We believe in what God's word says in Genesis. And part of being made in his image is we are made male and female. And we see an outright rejection of anything that, an outright rejection of the Imago Dei. Right.
yeah.
And so we're very, very clear about that. No, you cannot transition kids. And by attempting to do that, you are mutilating these children for life. And that's coming out more and more. Right. So it goes back to what is your definition of God? What is your definition, of living the Christian life? We're all in this together, and we are constantly wanting to go to God's word and
Mhm.
let that define where we are, not the party
Yeah.
platforms,
And
not Democrat or Republican.
and I would say citizens don't realize how much, I shouldn't say authority, but or just influence they actually have. Because here's the thing, I think it was A.W. Pink it could be him or Tozer who had said that, close your eyes, think about God. Whatever you think of is the most important thing in your life.
What do you think of first when you think about God?
Yeah.
Is the most important thing in your life.
And the thing is a lot of people are scared to go ask a candidate that because they're like, oh man, that's gonna like ruin their view of me. You're a citizen. Go do it. Because it's like my thing is he's actually on the hot seat by like his answers on the hot seat and that like, you're not on the hot seat at all. That is the benefit of being a citizen. He's on the hot seat because it's your vote that gets him in. He ain't voting you out on anything. He can't vote you out of being a citizen.
Yeah.
You're a citizen. Only you can vote him to being your representative. So ask him that question. Um, as Christians, the number one thing when we're thinking about a candidate is what do they think about us? What do they think about our economy? What do they think about God? That is what matters the most.
Very good point, Rich. I'm glad that you articulated it that way. All right, so there's another way that you can get involved. Um, and all this, takes a little practice. We're just trying to say, don't be intimidated by the process, but I'm so overwhelmed, I don't have time. Again, we make it easy.
Yeah.
Follow what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're here to make it easy for you, to make everyday people engaged in government the right way.
If you want to see God glorified, read what we say. as far as, because we want to see the same exact thing. We want to see the Lord glorified. We want to see leaders brought up. We want to see cultivation. We want to see those things, and that's why, again, just being well versed, being well networked, having good resources takes so much stress off. Um,
It's true. Knowing where to go to get your
yeah, because
answers.
to give you a 5-minute read, it took us 40 hours to do that, and no one has time for that, and we completely understand that. Legislators don't have time for that,
Yeah.
but those 40 hours, which 10 people gave of their week, um, and for it to be all summarized within like 5-minute report, like that's a great public service for everybody. And it's not just us that do that. There's many great organizations that do the exact same thing.
But
Um,
for our issues, where it's issues regarding the family,
yeah,
faith, family freedom, like we're looking at some huge parental rights things that are going to require us to assess and analyze
yeah,
a piece of legislation that is 80 pages long,
yeah.
something crazy. But we're going to take it through the legal review and distill it down so that we understand what's really happening here. What is the worldview of the person who is trying to advance this piece of legislation? Okay, so we know what her worldview is. Okay, we've got a reason to be deeply concerned here. So we're going to go through it. We're going to let you know about it. But a couple ways that you can practically get involved. One, Rich is new to our team, by the way. So I love hearing his perspective on how he's taking in all of this information. But um, Rich and Nandi just did such a terrific training on how do you testify at public hearings, committee hearings. How do you do that? What is the process? And if I want to be heard on a piece of legislation, how do I do that? It is so much easier than you think. But we do give you strategy and some things that we've learned through the years of doing it that is effective, what isn't effective. But Rich and Nandi did a great training on that. How do you get access to that training?
I believe it was posted on YouTube, correct? And then also, um,
So you can email us, put it in
yes,
comments.
yeah,
Info, I know the team at Delaware Families who sponsors this podcast,
hmm,
info at delawarefamilies.org.
yeah,
You can ask for the training there. It's
yep.
always accessible to anybody who is supporting us. Um, again, info at delawarefamilies.org. And there's another way that you can get
Well,
involved.
I
Would
would
you
well, I would say, for one, if you aren't already, become a member, because through that you would have been able to be live. So it's one thing to see the webinar, but something to be live because we need your questions. If you weren't there in the moment, we couldn't have answered them. And I believe everyone has a question. You gotta know when to ask it. Which for our case, it's please never not ask questions. Please just ask them.
You're going to do more trainings?
Yes, yeah. I mean, we absolutely are. As soon as we were done, we saw just the amount of success and just people were relieved and
They
for
wanted to know.
oh,
It was
100%.
great. It was wonderful training.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's just, again, I think I think the stress that kind of getting back on the main topic of like how do we choose a candidate, most of that stress people take off of your shoulders for you. As far as like an organization like us, like we research this person, we go and ask questions ourselves to them, and if you are connected to an organization like us or another one that has a biblical worldview, you can find out a lot of the questions that you have.
I think we're the only one in Delaware doing this kind of
In
work.
Delaware, yeah,
Yeah, but
absolutely,
nationally, for sure, we're
yeah,
connected to great national people
yeah,
that help us know, national scale. Okay, so the ways people can get involved is testify,
yes,
follow what's going on by following the legislative updates.
mm-hmm,
Watch for more training coming out. Another way is become a member so that you get the texts and the communications before anybody else. The members always know what's going on if they're engaged. But we hold member meetings in each county every month, and I would say 30 to 50 people come to those up and down the county.
yeah,
It's very unifying. And
good food,
good food. We enjoy a meal together. Everybody comes together, pays for their own lunch, but it's good food, great fellowship, great connection. And we do that. We put out the schedule a year in advance.
yeah,
Like I think every November we put it, or October we put out for the entire year. So
Besides Sunday, I get the most hugs on Thursday.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's a
it's
good time.
Thursday. That's when we have
So
our
and we'll
meetings.
put it down in the link of this video, how to become a member. It literally it takes less than 3 minutes. I mean, it's just you
Yep.
fill it out, and
DelawareFamilies.org. You can do it right there. Or if you want to see the member schedule, DelawareFamilies.org/member resources. And
yeah.
you can see the yearly schedule because it's open to our supporters. It's not something we do. It's public, and and you can find us. You can just go to whichever one is closest to you. Just because you live in Sussex doesn't mean you go to Sussex. You can go to whatever one works.
Mhm.
Okay, another thing we have coming up that I think people really need to know about is our training that we do for young adults. I say
Mm.
young adults, it's 16 to 25. A few 26-year-olds may have gotten in there. But it is our incredible worldview assimilation training. We use the backdrop of government to do it. It's called Delaware Leadership Congress. And it's a 3-day, just 3 days a year. But when your young adult comes to this, or if you are a young adult listening, it is amazing training, and it will network you with people who are like-minded, who will stand with you when it's your turn to take your stand, who would be there with you relationally, encourage. We build community around this. It's our young adults who operate our annual summit that we have. We do other things together, but I encourage you to be a part of this worldview training. Again, we use the backdrop of government to do it. 3 days right here in Delaware that you dedicate. We're all together. But you can look into it, apply for it, DelawareFamilies.org. We're taking applications right now. We have 12 spots left to fill, and that will complete this academy. This will be our 14th academy,
Yeah.
and our whole team's come through the
Well, you've told me
academy.
it's like what, the most fulfilling time of the year or something like
Is
y
this
yeah,
academy?
yeah.
Yeah, Rich is going to be going
Yeah,
for
I
the
know.
first time.
So, yeah, if you love me so much, just come see me. So, um,
We're taking sponsorships. Every student needs sponsorships. You can do that. You can sponsor a student at the website, which is critical to them being able to come. So there are different ways to get involved. Either have your student there, be prepping your student to come when they turn. We do let some 15-year-olds in if they're mature, but get them
far few.
ready when they're 16, and we teach them how to influence the world that they're living in and give them the support to do it. So, anything else? Those are really great ways to engage.
100%, and I would just say, like, when it comes to just remember with being a complete human includes your relationship with God, family, and country. And I was talking about this with someone is that when you forsake your country, enough people who love God and love family, enough people who are in that camp, but then forsake their country, policy that does not love God or country starts getting passed. And when that happens, then it makes it harder to love family. And when it's hard to love family, the very institution that God made, it's hard to love Him. So my point is that it may feel you can just separate your faith and your service to your country, but you really can't. It eventually comes back to affect your faith because remember, politics is a science, and you can't put political science above the queen of sciences, which is theology. You must Everything must flow from your view of God, that is your worldview. And again, if there's any question we can tell you to ask your candidate is, what do you think about God? Who is God? Does he have like a deist type of answer, like, oh, it's just a spiritual being? Completely, does he have a completely different religion, or is it the biblical, the one true God? And that's something to ask. But I would also say social media is extremely useful to get to know your candidate. Uh, you'll be hard pressed to find a candidate who does not use social media nowadays. Um, and then also through that, you can see who are they connected with, even on social media. Like you were mentioning in the beginning, is to find out about a candidate, find out who they're connected with.
Find out who's endorsing that candidate. A lot of
Yeah,
times, if they won't talk to us or whatever, they're inaccessible. Find out who is endorsing them, and that will tell you a boatload about their position on things. But we'll be talking more about it. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. And remember, one person who is equipped and strategically placed will take
take territory.
territory.